series. The first thing is the Knowledge College for Aging, and that's why we wanted you to have some sort of a background, a little bit about what case management is, so at least you're familiar with the concept, and who is an excellent case manager who can really make a difference. A lot of times, case managers get called in, for example, if the family is basically out of town, maybe they're from up north or in the Midwest, and the mom and dad live down here, and they realize they're going to have some help, and so now the family up north can rely on a case manager to help navigate all that. So that's important. So we are now live on YouTube, and this is our Helping Seniors Wellness series. What we try to do in the world of helping seniors, Joe Steckler called it making an aging plan. We call it helping you get your ducks in a row, because we live in Florida, and so we all understand that one of the key points is we do not want a hurricane. In fact, we want anything but a hurricane, and we're always hoping it will stay out to sea or do something different, but not be here. But the point is, we all want to be ahead of the curve, and if they were to tell us a hurricane is coming here, we've thought about what we would do, where we would go, what kind of supplies we might need to get through it, what are the steps we might want to take to protect our properties and things like that. So there's a reason to not wait to the last minute, because you know what happens if you wait to the last minute. You run down to the home supply store and everything's been cleaned off the shelves, or you run to the grocery store, everything's been cleaned off the shelves. So here again, being a little bit ahead of the curve is a good idea. And the same thing that we were talking about a little bit with Danica, why the aging plan is so important, is it's the same idea. You know, even she stood up here and told you, call me before there's a problem. I mean, I'll help you when you're in the middle of a crisis, but we have more options. It's going to be more cost effective. All of these people, I've never heard somebody that's involved with helping seniors say, oh, wait till you're in the middle of the problem. They all want you to call mega early. In fact, Carlos, is that true? Am what I'm saying true? Carlos is head of Synergy Home Care. He is he covers all of South Brevard, Melbourne. But you want people, I mean, you'll help even in a crisis. Mom's coming home from this hospital this afternoon. We got to do something. But you really would prefer to hear from somebody like when there's plenty of time to organize the best plan. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and I've never seen anybody involved with helping seniors not be willing to give advice or just kind of help navigate to get you to a safe landing. So everybody I've ever talked to is like, let's get a hold of people early. So one of the things that's very, very important, in fact, it's the number one pillar on your aging plan. We call it health and wellness. And because the answer is, if you have your health, any other problem you have, you can work on and you can fix. If you have a health problem, that almost like takes the day and that's all you can do. In fact, success, I had a pastor once say, sometimes a victory report is I'm still standing. You know, you've been through a bunch of stuff and I'm still here. And so that can be a victory report at certain points. But if you don't have your health working for you the right way, that becomes the number one thing to think. And so when we go through the 7 steps, I always tell it's a little bit like a wheel, right? Because we say step 1 is your health and wellness. Step 2 is your legal plan. Step 3 is your finance plan. Step 4 is I want to live at home safely. How do I do that? Step 5 is maybe I want to look at other living options as a senior. What is available? What does that look like? The 6th step is actually when we talk about organization and transportation. We lump them together because you have to think about what happens if I can't drive, or what happens if somebody needs to speak on my behalf and I can't tell the doctor what my prescriptions are and things like that. So that's this. But the 8th is so important. It's Medicare, Medicaid, and all the conversations. And so if you think about it, it kind of brings us full circle back to health and wellness, because if you're going to maximize your health and wellness, you really need a Medicare plan that is kind of suited to what you are going through. And Jerry and I have spent so much time. Jerry, how long you've been doing this? Decades, right? 2009. Medicare Solutions, name of his company. He's going to come up and share. But one of the things before I ask him to come up, I want to point out is that, so we always talk a lot about don't try this on your own, but we also want to talk about getting the help that matters. So a lot of times people will see their favorite actor from television, you know, oh, he was the captain on that space show I love, you know, and that guy's going to tell you all about what the best insurance is going to be. And I'm sure it's a good company, but they're out and Omaha or Iowa or someplace in the Midwest, and they have somebody who's going to answer the phone there in the Midwest and look at a computer screen and tell you what doctor you should go to in Brevard County. You talk to somebody like Jerry, who's 100% local, he's going to be able to know who the doctors are, who the hospitals are, which place takes which insurance, what's going to help you the most with your prescriptions. And again, I'm not picking on the guys out in Omaha trying to make a living by answering the phone, but I'm going to say they don't have that for their background. And oftentimes you could be calling a specific company, and that person who answers the phone is going to be a super, super expert on that company, but the only choices that they can offer you are within that company. And otherwise, they're not going to say, oh, we don't have the thing that fits you perfectly. Why don't you call XYZ? Wasn't that the whole point where Gimbels and Macy's got in trouble in that Christmas movie where it's like, oh, your Santa Claus is sending them over to Gimbels to get what they want. Much better to talk to somebody like Jerry, who's independent. He has to go to school all summer. Isn't that right? He's going to school right now so remember, there's two things that as a licensed Medicare person, he has to keep up with. First of all, this is not easy. Anytime you're trying to follow government regulations, it's never easy, right? So first of all, Medicare changes every year. Like we all went through a bunch of changes this year, right? Because things that worked last year were not part of this year's plan. So Medicare by itself, some things are covered, some things are not covered. Good, bad, I don't know. But the second part of it is then every insurance company has to react to whatever the Medicare changes are. And then they each have to formulate, well, this is what we're going to offer our customers the next year. So even if you were happy with the plan that you had last year or this year, you still need to go back and review because it's going to change for you as we go forward. And so the point being is that's why he has to go to school all summer. He not only has to learn the basic changes to Medicare, but then he's got to learn what each company is going to offer. And each company makes him like graduate from their little summer school so that he comes back because, it's annual enrollment period, Jerry. Am I saying that right? And that's in like October, right? Yeah. And so he has to know everything by October 15th so he can help his clients and people that call him know what's going to be best for them in the next year. So with that, come up and talk to us, Jerry. Jerry Hadlock, great friend of Helping Seniors. Yeah, that's what happens. I just come in here. I got to ask you a question. All right, so we got it. Has everyone got this little flyer? Oh, there you go. I got to use a mic and. Oh, well, yes. Oh, all right. They're sharing. I remember them. So we're going to go not line by line. We'll be here till dinner. But we're going to hit the major points. Because there really is some good preventative measures in Medicare. Let's go to the very first page. It's just before page 1 because I want you to kind of see this. Original Medicare includes A and B, which probably most of you know that. This booklet explains the preventative services that Original Medicare covers, including exams, screenings, vaccines, counseling to stay healthy. And when Medicare does it, so do some of the Advantage plans. You may have a Medicare Advantage with a company. I'm not going to mention companies because I could get in trouble. But most of the time, if Medicare does it, so does the private insurance company. They'll copy what Medicare does. All right, let's do the first thing here. Screenings. First, you want to go to a provider that accepts assignment. We're talking Original Medicare. So where I do that at, I go to Medicare.gov. The very top of the page, I'll go hit Providers and Services. It'll drop down. I'll put in a zip code. I'll put in the doctor's name, and it'll tell me immediately if they accept what Medicare pays him or her. If they don't accept it, there'll be a red question mark, meaning they didn't assign with Medicare itself.
and they could charge you more, like 15% more, but it's super rare. I mean, that's maybe 1 out of 300 or more. It's harder to find a doctor that doesn't take Medicare than it is that takes it. Put it that way. It's pretty easy. Let's go on to, so you get to keep this, obviously. So if you can't sleep tonight, you can just go by page. It'll put you right out. Let's go to page 2. So they do have certain checkups for men and women. It could be a little different. And then they talk about the different terms, which is all the terms I've learned over the past, 15 years. Assignment, co-insurance, co-payments, Medicare approved amount, Part B deductible. So some of these can change every year, like the Part B deductible. Every year, Medicare will come out and tell us what that deductible amount could be or will be. Let's go to page 3, preventative services. There's quite a few. A lot of them are to stop people. A lot of them are to try to help you stay healthy, like to prevent you from smoking if you're a smoker. If you're drinking a little too much, they have a whole system on or a program to help people do that too. And then they want to catch things before they become a major problem. It's kind of like your car. If I don't take care of my car, it's probably eventually going to break down. Years and years and years ago, I was a young man. I didn't check the oil in my car, and guess what happened? It stopped running right in the middle of Wickham Road. Yep, that's because the oil's gone. Very similar. But that was, 40 years ago. I've learned now. Plus, my car talks to me now. Ridiculous. All right, let's go to page 4. While I'm doing this, do you have any questions or anything you want to ask? Nope. All right. So, sure. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. No, it's just unfortunately you got to do a little research before you get on those plans, especially if you know you're going to go to Mayo Clinic or you're going to go to. Correct. I agree with that.
You don't know.
I agree. Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. So,
Advantage plan. What the whole laundry list that you're not entitled to, like the people that are on regular original Medicare.
yes, correct. No, I agree. Unfortunately, and they kind of put that back on you in a way. They want you to research if they're going to take certain advantage plans. But like you, yeah, and what, yeah, yeah, I agree. Yep, yep, yes, no, I agree. So I'll give you my 2 cents worth on what she's describing. When I meet with somebody, it's usually they're turning 65. They're getting new to Medicare. I show both. I show a supplement and I show an advantage plan. And in the years that I've been doing this, I lean a little bit more towards a supplement for that reason. Because now I can go anywhere I want. Plus, when you're brand new to Medicare, you have no underwriting for a Medigap plan. You could be sick as a dog and they have to take you because there's a 6-month window. No underwriting, no qualifying. I get it.
I was not, I didn't make the money that a man made. It was completely unequal. They were paying United Airlines people, the guys, more money than the women, which was proven by my mother, who has, more than one child working for United Airlines. I mean, we had to put up with this.
I understand.
Yeah, it's there should be some compensation for women who worked and who were making less money for equal job.
Get it.
It's
But that's another.
That's a different discussion.
That's true.
That's a different discussion.
That's totally different. Right. All right. I can talk to you later if you'd like. All right. So let's go to page 5. Most of these services that they're talking about file under Part B of Medicare. So A is usually hospitalization and hospice and some other benefits. Part B is really everything else. Doctor visits, primary, specialist. Let's see, am I at risk? At risk of some of these words I have difficult pronouncing. I'm sorry. Cardiovascular disease. So they check all of this to make sure. So it's the same thing like a car. Like I was saying, if I check it before I have a major problem, it's the same thing with our bodies, our health. We can catch it before it becomes a problem. We got a lot of better options to take care of it. Let's go to page 6 real quick. They also check you for all kinds of HIV, any kind of disease that could hinder your health later on. They're usually pretty good at checking it. So I have to go to a doctor every now and again because my wife is a nurse. She makes me go to these doctors in a way. Went to one the other day. Oh, go to the Walgreens clinic and get 6 vials of blood taken out of me. Good times, by the way. By the way, if they take that many out of your blood, usually you pay a little bit more, whatever insurance you have. You just go to a basic lab and just do 1 draw, usually pretty inexpensive. When they do about 6, it add up a little bit. But they're checking for everything is what they're really after. Let's go to page 7. Screenings for colonoscopy. I do recommend if you haven't had one, you probably should get a colonoscopy at some point in your life. They're very fun. There's a cocktail drink. You have it before the colonoscopy. They're very tasty. You know that's not true, right? No. And I've done both. I had the liquid and I took a pill last time thinking maybe the pill's better. No, it's not. Just, I don't know who makes this stuff up. It's terrible. But they really want you to get one. Okay, what's the cost? A lot of times, if it's a basic screening, they don't cost anything. It's when there's complications. Like on the colonoscopy, if they find polyps, there could be a little additional charge, maybe. But if they do just the procedure, sometimes it's no charge. If that makes any sense. Let's go to page 8. 8. Preventative, okay. Listen, when I was in high school, I tried a few cigarettes. I didn't like them. I could only take a cigarette if I had a beer in my hand, which that probably isn't very good either. So I never caught on to smoking, but I have some friends. Yeah, my wife's sister, boy, I think she supports, I don't know what she smokes, but I'm sure they live off of her. But they do have, if somebody really wanted to get away from that, they have programs to help you do that. COVID-19 vaccine, depression screenings. Page 9, am I covered? If you have Part B, you can get depression screenings also. So keep in mind, even if you have an Advantage plan, you've got A and B. But then when you have an Advantage plan, you want to use their doctors. Because when in an Advantage plan, they are your Medicare. Medicare is still around behind the scenes. So if the Advantage plan went out of business, which has happened, then you go right back to original Medicare. And then you get a chance to go to a Medigap with no qualifying. I don't know if you knew that or not. That's if a company goes out of business. They insolvent, they disappear. Yeah. It's all about a letter that you may get in the mail. If you get a letter in the mail saying, and in the letter they mail to you, it literally tells you you may have an option to get into a Medigap with no underwriting. It's all about that letter. Sometimes I've seen it in both ways. I've seen it when a letter is mailed. I'm like, we're in, like, let's use that letter. And then I've seen it where they didn't get the letter. And then, no, then I got to answer medical questions. They're pretty hard. So I've seen it both ways. Diabetes. This one I run into a little bit. If you're diabetic, you need to go get your diabetes checked. If you're on any kind of medications like metformin, a lot of times those meds, depends on the medication, they can be inexpensive or they can be expensive. Just depends on what you're taking. Let's see, flus. They do have quite a few vaccines that they'll allow you to get. Glaucoma screening for your eyes. My mother-in-law, she gets a shot in her eye to prevent or slow down. I'm terrified of needles, by the way. So if that ever came my way, I may have to tell the doctor, well, someone needs to drive me around from now on because I don't want to get a shot in my eye. Sorry. All right, glaucoma. How often? On page 11, about every 12 months. After you meet your Part B deductible, you pay 20% for approved amounts on outpatient settings, also for co-payments. You're at risk if you have conditions that apply to you: diabetes, family history of glaucoma, you're over age 50, Hispanic, and 65 or older. I don't really run into this one, but they do have a vaccine. They got a vaccine for about everything. Any questions on what I've kind of gone over? This exciting stuff so far? I mean, it's exciting when you start, if you need it, you got to use it. That's kind of what it comes down to. All right, let's go to page 13. Once you have a high risk because of your continued infection, I don't run into, however you say that, screenings. Once you are a high risk, blood transfusion, don't run into that very often. All right, let's go to the next one, HIV. I don't run into that hardly, but could be around. Let's go to page 14. Screenings to look for an early lung cancer. Part B covers cancer screenings. They also cover, they cover about everything you can think of when it comes to cancer. And obviously you want to catch it long before it becomes a big issue. And I've seen both. I've seen people that they just put it off, and it is a problem. I've had others, they go through screenings and programs and get it taken care of. My mother-in-law was one of them. And they caught it fairly early, and she's good now. But if they'd have let it go longer, it could have been an issue. Mammograms, that's what happened with her. They found out she had stage 4 breast cancer. They caught it fairly early, and they took care of it. That was years ago. Probably 8. Been a while. And she actually went to the care center right here in Melbourne. They were really good to her. They did a great job. All right, let's talk about medical nutrition therapy services. So a lot of what we eat has a big effect on us, which we should all know that already. I mean, I could tell you so many stories. I've gone to people's homes and they're diabetic beyond being diabetic. They take everything, and then they're drinking a soda in front of me. And I'm thinking, I don't think your doctor would approve of that. Probably not very good for you, especially if you're diabetic. But that's just the choices they make. You know what I mean? Some of them do. Because I'm diabetic, and the doctor we go to, man, he gave us a whole list. He's like, you can have these, and you cannot have these. All right, that's pretty easy. And it's pretty common sense. No breads, no rice, because it spikes your blood sugar. No sodas. I haven't had a soda in 5 years. I don't even know what those are. I mean, I see them, but I haven't had one. I drink a lot of water. I'll tell you another reason why I drink water. I had kidney stones. Anybody ever had kidney stones? They're no fun, by the way. Doctor told me it's like having a child. I said, well, if that's the price of having a child, there'd be no children in this world. None. Zero. That was so painful. No, but right, women, you guys must forget. I truly believe that women forget they had a baby at one point because they go and get another one. My daughter's doing it. I'm like, did you remember how painful that was? Would you block it out? Okay. Good. That's great. I'm glad you found something. I agree. And some of them do. I agree. Some of them do. Yes. No. We could look up if there is. So if you're going to look for a nutritionist, what I would do is I would go to Medicare.gov because they have categories also, and I would look under nutritionist and see if they accept original Medicare. That's right. Same thing, dietitian. Yep. Medicare diabetes prevention. So this is exercise, obviously, eating right, controlling your weight, which I think we all do that already. So I hope. I mean, I'm in the middle of all that stuff. Jesus. Go shopping with my wife at Publix. That's always fun. Oh, you can't have that, Jerry. Oh, okay. How about that? No. Then why do we come here? All right. Obesity, that could be another problem. Obviously, a little weight, BMI. Want to check all that? Let's go to page 18. Let's see. Counseling, HIV, cost, pre-medications. Prostate cancer, that is a pretty common one. You want to catch that. So I go to a doctor and get that checked at least every year. Yep. That's a fun checkup, by the way. Yep. But got to do it. Yes, I get it. Well, do you really want me to answer that? Because, man, they don't, well, trust me, it's equality. I will guarantee you that. Because I go to a doctor, he's old fashioned. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Can. Yeah, I get a blood test. And if he thinks I have, especially kidney stones, he makes me go and get an x-ray. And then you know what he tells me every time? You're carrying kidney stones. Well, that's good, doc. As long as they don't go anywhere. I don't care. They could stay there until the end of the year. Just leave them alone. They're not fun, by the way. Whew. Prostate cancer. You want to get, that's what we were just talking about. All right. Digital exams, transmitted disease. Can't say I've run into that, but then again, I don't go to people's homes and they're going to tell me this stuff. You know what I mean? They're going to tell me what medications they take and what doctors they want to go to. Pretty much. Let's go on to page 20. COVID-19 can be covered, certain conditions. Respiratory, shingles. I've been told I'll have shingles because I had chicken pox when I was kind of older. Anybody ever had chicken pox when you were a little older? Horrendous. I woke up one morning and I couldn't even open my eyes. I had the things everywhere. Good times. So now I'm being told by doctors, you should get the vaccine for shingles because you're probably going to get it again and it's going to be even worse. Well, that's good news, doc. I haven't done it yet, but I probably should. Well, okay, this is something I kind of wanted to touch on. I don't know why they have it in the back of the book. But on page 20, when you're brand new to Medicare, which I don't know if anybody here is or knows somebody, but there is a welcome to Medicare visit. It's kind of like a full exam, kind of like getting an annual checkup. I don't know why they have it one time. And then every year after that, you're allowed to get another annual checkup. Same idea. They're checking and trying to find things that could be a problem. Yes. Annual exam. Yeah. And it's how they, especially when you're brand new to Medicare, you want to make sure the doctor's office is submitting it to the Welcome to Medicare visit. So when you're brand new to A and B of Medicare, that's your visit. And then every year after that, every 12 months, they call it a different name. They don't call it the Welcome to Medicare visit. They just call it an annual exam, or they don't visit. And I've heard they're a little different. I don't quite know what the difference is, but I look at it this way: just get it. If you want, there again, you want to check things before they become an issue. That's all. Pretty easy. You don't run out of oil in your car. Trust me. What happens when you go to the visit? They're going to get your whole history. Nowadays, it's probably all on their website or internet. Routine physical exams, you have to pay full amount. Okay. This is afterwards, the yearly wellness visit. I don't know why they separate them, but they do. They've been doing that for years. Just go get it. Doesn't cost you anything. It's annual. Free. Anybody have any questions or anything you wanted to ask me about Medicare? Or yes. The reason why you'd be denied. When you're first trying to get Medicare, you don't have your quarters. You don't have 40 quarters or 10 years. Most people do. If you worked in the U.S. for 10 years, you probably have your 40 quarters. If you don't, that could be a little tricky. But then they charge you more for Medicare A and Medicare B. A lot more. Pretty amazing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe. Maybe. So, yes. Three months before. Right, right. And if you're on Social Security already, it's automatic. They'll usually sign you up for A and B and Medicare instantly and send you the red, white, and blue card. If he's not on Social Security, then we need to reach the Social Security office and make an application to get Medicare started. So I help people do that, by the way. Yeah. Yeah.
A couple years ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have an idea of what you will be getting,
Correct.
which is nice.
No, it is pretty nice. But to get the red, white, and blue card, kind of like what he was describing, it's a 90 days before your birthday, your birth month. So if I'm turning 65, say September, then we're in it. About 3 months prior to that, we can talk to a Social Security office and get the red, white, and blue card activated. Then they mail you the actual card. Yep.
I said Medicare. I meant Social Security.
Yeah, Social Security.
I was, sorry,
It's
got
okay.
mixed up on that.
That's all right. That's right. So what she's describing, if you take Social Security at 62, when you turn 65, then you get Medicare automatically. They'll mail it right to you. You don't even have to call the Social Security.
Question.
Yes.
If you turn 65 this year and you're still working,
Yes.
what about Part B
Right. So
job?
if your job has credible insurance, which means 20 or more employees, you can delay your B as in boy until you know that coverage is going to go away. And then the same idea, about 3 months prior to you're going to lose your group insurance, then we go start getting Medicare B activated. A and B sometimes. Some people will take A at 65 and then they'll continue to work and they don't take B. They delay their Part B. And then when they know that other insurance is going to go away, then we go get Part B. Yeah. Pretty easy, by the way. Not that hard. What's that?
One is if you go on Medicare because of disability before you're 65,
Yes.
and then you turn 65, I know
Yes.
you can get a new lease on life at that point. But
Yes.
is there no underwriting at that point for a supplement?
That's correct.
Okay,
You have a new initial enrollment period because you turned 65.
okay.
Yes.
And then do you have any guidance or opinion or thoughts about what they're saying that Medicare is going to, face a looming financial crisis in the early 2030s?
They say that about Social Security also.
Well, I understand the demographics
Yeah.
with Social Security, but I don't understand Medicare
I think-
as much.
This is just my opinion. I think Medicare is pretty solid. fact, yeah, I don't see, but who knows? I mean, we could have a major crisis no matter what. But I think Social Security has maybe a little bit more problems than Medicare. But that's just me. I don't know. Nobody really knows the future. But I don't think Medicare is going to have. I don't see it that way. No. So, but that's just my opinion. I can't, no one can predict the future. But I don't see any problem with Medicare. It's a great program, by the way. I'll say that. I've had people, they have group insurance and it's not that great, and they're waiting. They're counting down the days till they can get Medicare. Because they realize I can get Medicare and a Medigap, pick up a little drug plan on the side, go anywhere I want. Go to Shands, you go to Mayo, you go to MD Anderson, go anywhere.
If a person has to go on Medicare early
Yes.
because of disability,
Yes.
obviously the supplements are pretty expensive.
It's very expensive.
But
Yes.
So that kind of steers them towards an advantage plan.
Correct.
But is there a supplement option they should consider, or should they just go straight to the advantage plan?
What I would do in that circumstance, we'd look at either a Medigap or a supplement, maybe a very low end, like a K as in kitten. But even then, they're pretty expensive. I mean, the G is going to be very expensive. But most people, what you're just describing, they take an advantage plan first until they hit 65. Because then they get a new initial enrollment. Then they'll go to a supplement. Because it is a lot lower.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Advantage.
No, it's usually the other way around. Supplements are a little more expensive. Because on a supplement, I'm paying my Part B premium and I'm paying the Medicare supplement premium.
It's for a supplement. How much money?
Depends on the plan. Depends on the plan and the.
Minimum, maximum.
Tell you what, I'll give you a booklet and you can look at it. It'll be right in there. All the supplement will be right there. So let's put it this way. Right. I'll see you next year after you're done reading it. I'll say this about a supplement. So a plan G as in go is identical with every company, meaning the benefits, how they work. What's different is the monthly premium. If you caught on to that. So the services that you use for hospital and doctors are identical from one supplement to the other. It's the monthly premium that's different. So if you go to Medicare.gov and look under them, they'll literally tell you the premium. They'll even tell you, yeah. It's a pretty good website. A really good website. Any other questions? All right, then I think we're all good.
Thank you, Jerry Hadlock.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Before I let you go and then you'll be around to answer questions, obviously. But one of the things that is really not lost on me is how complicated this is. And so again, we're all pretty smart people. So we all think we can get on the internet and navigate around and maybe research this or research that. But you don't have to go to school all summer like Jerry does. And, just as I'm listening to the questions come up from the audience, if you notice, everybody's case is very different. Like some people have issues where, the drug prescription plan becomes like very paramount because that's a big expense in the family. Other people need that flexibility where I want to go to the doctor. I remember Joe Steckler, our founder. He was a big proponent of original Medicare, particularly for snowbirds. He said, if you're traveling a lot, you get covered in you can tell me when I get this wrong, but I understand if you have a Medicare Plan C, that, they're going to take care of you if you have an incident while you're traveling, but it's not like you can get regular doctor care if I'm 6 months in Michigan and then I spend time down in Florida. I'm saying that right.
It can be super complicated.
Yeah. And so Joe, particularly was always an advocate of that. But then for many people, the money just becomes like, I can't, I'm already paying the $200 plus a month for my premium with Medicare. So I really can't afford the extra. And maybe that's why a lot of people gravitate towards the supplement. I mean, not the supplements, but the Plan Cs.
No, that is part of the reason. The other part of the reason is some of the agents out here, like myself, they don't really talk about supplements. Some of them do, some of them don't. So because it's an easy sell. All you gotta do is go to a house and go, hey, look, all you pay is your 202 with Medicare, and here's your Medicare Advantage plan. Most of them have no premiums. What they don't tell them is there could be issues down the road. Depends on what about the person. So
Yeah.
if they're healthy as a horse and they stay that way, that'll be fine. But if they get sick, really sick,
Jerry,
could be a problem.
Jerry, do you think it's a question? Because I remember thinking through this. Now, my mom and my wife's mom, both because of their finances, they really did need the $0 premium.
Right.
And we never had a problem navigating what they needed.
Right.
But I do remember reading in the back of all those manuals, you have the right to appeal. And it sounded like if they said no, but the problem is you're still within the walls of what they say goes and doesn't. Am I saying that right?
That is correct.
So you have to find your solution somehow within whatever they've constructed.
That's correct. So like I said in the very beginning, if you're on an Advantage plan, they become your Medicare. What he's describing, that could be a problem, maybe. Most time, no, but it could be. Because they like a certain procedure. You submit it, they can come back and go, no, there's something better and cheaper. Well, that isn't what your doctor ordered. So it could be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah. My dad always talked about how you get stuck then in between the insurance company and the medical provider.
Yes.
But I guess that's also a question because I've known many people that we work with in the Helping Seniors world have run into some diagnosis and then they're very specific. I want to go to this place
Correct.
for that treatment. That's where the original Medicare and a
Correct.
supplement would be the path for something like that.
I agree. You have more options. I mean, most doctors take original Medicare, which in turn they automatically take a supplement. They follow one another. It's on the Advantage plan. What he's describing could be a problem. I want to go to this doctor. Well, he's not in your network. That can be an issue.
Yeah. Important stuff. No. And again, this is why I always go, don't try this on your own. Call 1-800-JERRY and talk to him because he's going to school all summer to train up on whatever the changes are. And again, I guess it's like once you think you know it, and I know you know it, but then they go and change. It's like they pull the rug out from under you each year and say, okay, well, this year we're going to do this over here, right?
You have no idea. I think they do it on purpose. Oh, Jerry, we don't want you to know that all the way. We're going to change it. Perfect. When did that change? Now it's pretty. In fact, I have to go. Every insurance carrier I represent, I have to take their test every year.
About how many is that?
About 8.
He's got to.
Yeah, sometimes. But some of the questions are so complicated.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think they hire a college graduate and they go, make this question as complicated as you can.
He said 8. He
I
just
got
said
8.
8. Yeah.
8. Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few here. Yeah, a bunch. Yes.
And that's different, right, than knowing what's out in the supplement world too, because then you have to become schooled in that as well.
Correct. Supplement world's a little easier because all I do then is go to Medicare.gov and I'm looking for the premium. So if someone's interested in Plan G, I already know they're all the same in the way they work. It's just the monthly amount that could be different.
I have a question.
Yes.
As you're going through these 8, do they vary as the year as to all of a sudden these new curveballs or things come up that basically have you do it and that, or is there a rating scale that says, okay, I'm going to stay with these 8, or something new comes along that basically pops up that makes them more?
I'll answer it this way. I had a company years ago when they make their benefits, they submit it to Medicare. If it's wrong, this company, this is a few years ago, they had to keep what they submitted to the government. The government came back and said, nope, that was they were losing money. Somebody did a typo. Yeah, I don't know who did that. They're not around anymore.
Well, I remember asking you too, like we came into this year, I remember one of the big changes, I think, was this thing that people who've been getting extra help,
Yes.
all of a sudden that changed that you had to have, quote, a chronic condition. And I remember asking you at the start of the year, how are the insurance companies even going to know how to manage all that? And you said and every one of these Medicare Advantages had like a slightly different approach.
They do.
That had to be very complicated for you to sort out.
It can
Now it's clear, but like during open annual enrollment, that had to be complicated.
Can be. Yeah. And a lot of those chronic plans, I just have to get proof that they have that chronic condition, which is kind of easy. You just go to their doctor and he fills out a form. That's it. Pretty easy. I don't write that many chronics. I do on occasion. I write more of a D-SNP, which means they have a form of Medicaid behind the scenes. Probably it's similar, but not the same.
So I hope as you're hearing all the, one more question.
question.
And, all right, let me run back here with the microphone.
Do we have to change every year?
No. So they're going to, whatever insurance you're carrying, they're going to send you an annual notice of change right around the end of September. And if you like everything you see, a lot of times they'll do a comparison. They'll say, here's what it was this year and here's what it'll be next year. And if you're okay with the little bit of change, if there's any, you just stay with what you got and you automatically roll over. No problem. But
If you're not okay,
if it's not okay,
call Jerry.
then we need to do some shopping. We need to look around for a company.
Basically, with the Advantage plan, they always say you get the hearing aids, you get the
Yes.
the dental, you get
Yes.
the eyeglasses, and where have you seen the biggest difference, like in vision, money going up, money going down? Who gives the most? I was with every single company that went bankrupt because it was Universal. Yeah, you name it. I was with the best company all the time, and they would go under.
Yep. That's because they gave away the farm.
Exactly.
They couldn't afford it. There was a company in Orlando. They used to drive around in little cars with the logos on it. Man, they went down in like a year. That's just sad. I mean, you can't do that.
Well, sorry, Jerry.
It's okay.
I want to encourage you guys to stay and talk with Jerry, because I hope the one thing that you've gotten out of today's conversation is this is really complex. Don't try it on your own. Bring your case to Jerry, somebody who's independent, who knows what they're talking about, who does this for. I have a feeling I could wake him up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, what about this? And he wouldn't have to think about it. He would know it.
I need a cup of coffee.
Call Jerry at 3.
Dear God.
Round of applause for Jerry. And I'm going to introduce Nancy so we can do some door prizes before we close out. But Jerry will be here for your question. Hey, Nancy.
Hey, Carrie. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming out on this hot summer day. I know Carrie went over this, but I just wanted to say a couple things before we get to the car raffle. Number one, I have a calendar of events up here printed out if you need one. I think you didn't get one, James. Upcoming events on the table. And also, I really want to encourage everybody to come to our Cars and Cuisine and Community event this Saturday from 10 to 2. It's an outside and inside event. Huge car show outside. DJ, right? DJ, food truck. We're going to have a nice cooling station outside for people who want to bring their pets or get out of the sun. And then inside, we're going to have chef stations. We're taking over the whole entire lobby, including that side. And the event itself is free, but the fundraising part is you pay for a tasting ticket, 1, 2, 5, all of them, and you get to sample all of the chef tables, or you can sample the same chef table several times. Yellow Dog will be here amongst other great restaurateurs. Anybody donating for a taste ticket also gets a beverage ticket for a beer, white or red wine, or a soda. Water is free, and it's going to be cars, it's going to be cuisine, it's going to be community. You won't recognize how good our lobby's going to look. So come on out. It all benefits helping seniors, and 100% of what is donated stays in Brevard to help our seniors. So thank you in advance.
All right, door prize time.
Door prize time. We have several, and I know we're past time, so we'll move it right along. We have 3 door prizes. Carrie, I'm going to let you do the honors.
Pull the ticket. What are we drawing for?
We're gonna do it where this person gets to choose.
Okay.
So number 1 gets a choice of all 3.
All right. Here we go. 6631. Now here we go. 639. Woo,
Grant!
You go. What do you pick?
You got a Dunkin' Donuts gift basket. You've got a lovely wine with a box and a pen from Rocksteady Boxing, or Unknown Mystery from AARP.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want, honey? It's always the wife's choice. Dunkin' Donuts, wine, or the mystery envelope? The
All
Dunkin'
right.
Donuts. Okay, ouch.
And we are grateful to Dunkin' Donuts for helping us in all of this. They, like I mentioned before, when you come back out July 15th for Java with Joe, they're the ones who bring the coffee and donuts. So we're grateful. And we're still working on the steak and eggs. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Door prize number 2.
Door prize number 2, 6631. And here we go. 643. All right.
All right. Which would you like, wine or the mystery envelope? Mystery.
All right. The mystery envelope.
This is from AARP.
Priscilla, do you or Vera want to say, is there anything you guys want to add to, we've tried to talk.
The Dunkin' Donuts was from Helping Seniors. So I'm going to say